morning, everyone. My name is Duygu Çakmak. I'm a senior AI programmer at Creative Assembly, and this is my colleague Csaba Toth. He's a senior AI designer. As an AI designer and a programmer, we work together closely, and we create our work together. And today, we would like to talk to you about what makes it difficult to analyze and assess the overall quality of the AI behavior in a complex turn-based game, such as Total War. And then we'll talk about how we tackle this challenge. What we are about to present is a collaborative effort of the AI team. We shall be presenting 6 sections in total, 3 by me and 3 by Csaba. But the first thing to do is to talk about what Total War actually is. Thank you. Total War is a strategy game made up of 2 parts. The first part is a turn-based campaign, which can be classified as an empire-building game. If you know the board game Risk, you can find a lot of similarities between. In the game, you control a faction which has some territories and armies and enemies. The goal of the game, very simplified, is to defeat your enemies and to take over the world. The second part is real-time grand-scale battles. We will focus on the turn-based campaign part in this presentation. Our last release title is 3 Kingdoms. It is exceptionally well received and broke all of our previous records. It is the best-selling Total War ever. Throughout this presentation, all the examples given will be from this title. Total War is a very complex sandbox game. In the game, there are several different systems that need to be managed. As a player, you need to make decisions about how to improve your economy or technology. Every other faction in the game has its own AI, making exactly the same type of decisions the player makes with all of these systems. It is important to note that all these systems are interconnected, meaning that a decision you make in one system will affect the decisions that you will be making in the other systems. The second thing I want to point out is the number of different states the game can be in at any time. In order to show you the magnitude of this, I want you to think of a very minimal version of the game. Let's say there are 40 factions in the game, and every faction has only 1 territory, 1 army, and 1 enemy. Then every faction has 2 possible actions: to attack the enemy or not to attack the enemy. Depending on what each faction does, the game will end up in different states. So the number of different combinations of these actions these factions can do will give us the possible states the game can end up in. In this case, it is 2 to the power of 39, which is a bit more than 500 billion. And that is the number of possible different states the game can be in for this simple version of the game, and for only 1 turn. But in reality, in the game, factions can actually have more than 1 territory or more than 1 army. And each army can actually do more actions, like defending a region, attacking to a region, recruiting in a region, and so on. And the armies are only 1 resource of 1 system. There are many other systems in the game, and each one has many other things to do decisions on. For example, the diplomacy system needs to pick a good deal among those 300 generated deals, and so on. And finally, there are hundreds of turns, not just 1 turn. So the number of possible states the game could be in at any time is ridiculously high. This complex nature of the game creates some challenges for us. And the biggest one for this talk is to see, understand, and assess if AI is making fun, challenging, and reasonable decisions in each interconnected system and in almost every possible scenario. Moreover, during the development of the game, or programmers change some code, or designers tweak some data. So we need to be able to see how this impacts the game very quickly every single day. So the changes that we make the next day will build on a solid base. So the actual challenge is not just to get a clear picture, but to find a method to show this clear picture very quickly. In order to do that, we thought of two things. First, we needed a system to simulate how the AI behaves in a very large number of different scenarios. And second, we needed a quick method to see how good the AI's behavior in these simulations. For these reasons, we built a set of tools and techniques. The first one I would like to talk to you about is about simulating the possible scenarios and gathering data. We built an Autotest environment that allows AI agents to play the game against each other. We call these games autoruns. This Autotest environment is an automated system which runs autoruns in parallel in our development PCs outside of working hours. Autoruns simulate the game and provide data logs along with some interesting information on how AI sees these systems or how it makes its decisions. So our autotests run day and night. But what sort of data do we record and collect in an autorun? Firstly, we collect the most important data that would allow us to understand what happened in the game, such as how region ownerships or army positions changed in each round. Then we store this crucial part of information in a central database. This data helps us to understand many things, but mainly it helps
importance of proper playthroughs and playtests and subjective feedback. So to conclude our talk, our advice for analyzing AI behavior would be to gather as much data as you can to cover a large amount of possible game scenarios, use auto tests and automated processes to quickly generate that data and flag up issues, develop a diverse toolset, don't just rely on one method. Visualize your data. It makes it much easier to comprehend complex information. And invest ample amount of time and resources into all this. It's really worth it on the long run. Thank you.
Thank you for the great talk. We have time for a couple of questions. Anybody has any? Oh, there's somebody. Yeah.
Okay, so one thing is, so the playtesting, it's obviously a very, very useful source of information, and particularly strange information. But there's only a limited amount of playtesting that one office or company can do. So do you think it would be possible, or how effective would it be, to allow players to essentially flag up, hey, something's gone on that's a bit strange, and send you over a save file that's 1 or 2 rounds back on what they'd done, so that then you have a much richer opportunity for finding out about these strange behaviors?
I guess, so we do it internally, so whenever any of our testers see any interesting, any odd issues, yeah, when they report bugs, they attach save games, they give a repro report. So as we're developing the game, this is the actual method we use. They support us with save games. This is the game scenario where things went wrong, and we just reproduce it and analyze it using these methods, basically. And there are also, after the release of our games, We also closely track our forums because players often report bugs, and sometimes they can also supply us with save games, screenshots, etc. So yeah, we're constantly doing that.
Hi. I was just wondering how you combine that sort of reporting, looking for bugs, against the difficulty and the capacity the AI is meant to be operating at, because that'll be different for players with different experience. Like in the first talk, you're looking at like absolutely top level play, but for a game like like Total War, you're looking at different levels of AI behavior.
Sorry, I missed some of it. Could you repeat the question?
So how does that kind of analysis combine with how good the AI is meant to be versus different levels of human player? So when you're setting the difficulty level of the AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when we're doing playtests, we always try to get a diverse picture on different difficulty settings. So this is basically how we measure how good the AI is. We basically QA always selects one difficulty. So they will focus on, let's say, hard difficulty. So they will start the playtests on hard, and then we have other playtests on different difficulties, and we combine all this data, and that's how we get the clear picture on how well the AI is doing on different difficulty settings. But also when we run our auto runs, we can also change the difficulty setting because the game is slightly different on different settings. So sometimes we change the auto runs a little bit, the setup of the auto runs, and we use different settings.
Okay, well, we don't have time for more. I'm conscious of time. Let's thank Duygu and Csaba again.